6th grade. So I'm going to be doing things a little differently than what I've been doing. So I've been giving y'all 2 videos a week for y'all to watch. And those videos have included instructions on all the assignments. I'm still going to be making videos for you guys, but instead of making 2 videos a week, I'm only going to make 1 video a week. And in that 1 video, well, I've been giving y'all 2 grammar lessons a week because each video has a different grammar lesson. But instead, I'm going to just be doing 1 video a week, and that 1 video is only going to include 1 grammar lesson along with your assignments. So again, instead of y'all having to watch 2 videos for 1 week, y'all are only going to need to watch the 1, and that's going to include your grammar lesson along with your assignments for that week. And I'm doing this because I think it'll make things a little easier on you guys. I know, with the circumstances, it's just made things a little more difficult. I know you have your other classes that you're also working on, so I don't want to overwhelm you with work right now. I'm gonna give you a good amount, but I don't want to overload you, especially during this time. So again, I'm just gonna be making 1 video a week for you guys to watch. And in that video, it's going to include instructions for your assignments for the whole week. It's going to include your grammar lesson and all the other assignments that I've given you. So that's what we're going to be doing from now on. So today's video is for the week of April 6th through April 10th. So what you're going to need for this video, you're going to need your grammar lesson 92, which is on page 299 and 300. And then you are also going to need to get list 31, and you're going to need to get out your read and think number 34, and your literature assignment that is titled William the Silent, which is on page 126 through 128. So get those things out. So again, that's your grammar lesson 92, your list 31, read and think number 34, and your literature assignment William the Silent. So get those things out. If you need to pause the video and go do that, then please do so, and then come right back. What we're going to do is get started on our mugshot. So if you need to pause the video, go ahead and do so, and make any corrections that you need to correct in this sentence. Okay, so now that you've done that, I'm going to go in with my red marker and make those corrections. So this sentence is, starfish don't have no legs, but they can creep around on a lot of little tube feet. Well, that does not make sense. So first thing we're going to do is we are going to capitalize the S in starfish. And then for this part, you can either do one of 2 things. You can either keep the don't, and if you keep don't, you're going to have to take out no. So it would be starfish don't have legs, or if you don't want to do that, instead, you could erase the don't and do starfish have no legs, and then also there's going to be a comma after legs, and then it would be, but they can creep around on a lot. A lot is 2 words, it's not 1 word, so you'd separate that. A lot of little tube feet, and then in the sentence with a period. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys make any corrections that you missed. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started on lesson 92. So if you don't have that out in front of you, go ahead and get that out, because we're going to be working on that together. So that was lesson 92, and that's on page 299 through 300. So I'm going to go ahead and move out of the way so that you guys can see the board. So what we're going to be talking about today is doubling the final consonant. And there's a few rules when it comes to this. So the first rule we're going to be talking about is you double the final consonant when a word ends with a single consonant following 1 vowel and the word is 1 syllable. I'm going to pause this right there. So let's go ahead and look at our first example. We have jog. Okay, so as you can see, we ended up doubling the consonant in jog, and it became jogger. And we did this We doubled the final consonant in this word because this word, jog, it ended with a single consonant that followed a vowel. So remember, your vowels are A, E, I, O, and U. A, E, I, O, and U. And then your consonants are everything in the alphabet except vowels. So everything else except a vowel is a consonant. So when you look at jog, you can see that it ended with a consonant that followed a vowel because remember, O is a vowel, right? And the word jog is one syllable. So when that happens, when you have a word that ends with a consonant that's following a vowel and it's one syllable such as jog, then you would double that final consonant, and that's why it became jogger. So as you can see, we doubled the G and it became jogger, J-O-G-G-E-R. Okay, now let's move on. It says that you double the final consonant in this case, or you can also double the final consonant when the last syllable is accented, both before and after ending the suffix. So a syllable is accented whenever you hear that it's the strongest syllable. That's what it means when it's saying when a syllable is accented. So whenever it's accented, that just means that that syllable is the strongest. So again, let's read that. It says, or when the last syllable is accented both, so it needs to be accented before and after adding the suffix. So let's pause right there and let's go ahead and look at the word omit. So as you can see, omit, okay? So let's say that word, omit. Do you hear it? The last syllable, omit, that is the strongest syllable. So it says the last syllable has to be accented. So when we say omit, we can hear that that last syllable is accented. It's the strongest syllable, both before and after, okay? So after we add the suffix, ed, it becomes omitted, right? And so whenever we say omitted, then you can hear that the last syllable is again the strongest syllable. So before we added the suffix ed, we said omit, and we can hear that this syllable is the strongest, the last syllable. And then when we add our suffix ed, omitted, we can hear that the last syllable on omitted is also the strongest syllable. That's our accented syllable. So it says here, the last syllable is accented both before and after ending the suffix. And that's what happened in this case of omitted. So that's when we would also double the final consonant. So we doubled T in this case. So that was our final consonant. Okay, so moving on. So then it goes on to say, do not double the final consonant if the accent is not on the last syllable. Okay, so I'm going to pause this right there. And remember, whenever it says a syllable is accented, all that means is that syllable is the strongest syllable. So let's go ahead and look down at our first example. The word is enter. Okay, let's go ahead and say that word out loud. Enter. Whenever you say that word enter, you can hear that our accented syllable is the first syllable in that word. It is not our last syllable. So, since that's the case, our final consonant is not going to be doubled because it's saying up here, it says that whenever your last syllable, if your last syllable is not accented, if it's another syllable besides that last one, then you would not double the final consonant. So in this case, in the word enter, our accented syllable is the first one. It's not the last syllable. So since that's the case, we're not going to double the final consonant when we add our suffix ed. So all we do is just add it to the word enter and become entered. That would be our word with the added suffix. Okay, so then it goes on to say, you also do not double the final consonant if the accent moves when a suffix is added. Okay, so let's go ahead and pause and let's look down at our second example. The word is refer. Say that word out loud. Refer. When you say that word, you can hear that our accented syllable is our last syllable in the word refer. So yes, our last syllable is accented in that word. However, when you add your suffix and you say that word together, it becomes reference. And when you say reference out loud, reference, you can hear that the syllable has moved. So when that happens, when the syllable moves after the suffix is added, you also would not double the final consonant. So that is why we did not double the final consonant in this word, because when we added our suffix, the syllable moved, the accented syllable moved. A few more rules to this. So it says we also do not double the final consonant if the word already ends in two consonants. So let's stop right there and let's go ahead and let's look down at our first example. So remember, vowels are A, E, I, O, and U, and consonants are everything in the alphabet that is not a vowel. So if you look at your first example, the word is sing. And if you look at this word, you can see that it ends in two consonants. So since the word sing ends in two consonants, we would not double the final consonant. So whenever you're adding your suffix, you're not going to double that final consonant G, because in the word sing, it ends with two consonants. So when you add your suffix, it's just going to be singer, S-I-N-G-E-R. Okay, then it goes on to say, you also do not double the final consonant when the suffix begins with a consonant. So if you look at your second example, equip, well, that's your word. If you look at the suffix, you can see that it begins with a consonant because M is a consonant. So since your suffix begins with a consonant, you would not double your final consonant in the word equip. You would not double that P. So when you put the suffix with the word, it'd be equipment, E-Q-U-I-P-M-E-N-T. Okay, then it says, when adding the suffix ly to a word ending in two L's, you would drop one L. Because we wouldn't want three L's, that would just look funny, right? So let's go ahead and look at our examples. Our first example is the word hill. Okay, so let's look at our suffix. Our suffix is ly, and then if you look at the word hill, you can see that it ends in two L's. So since our suffix is ly and the word hill ends in two L's, we would drop one of the L's. So let's go ahead and drop one of the L's in hill. And so then when we add our suffix, the word becomes hilly with two L's instead of three. So it would be H-I-L-L-Y. Okay, the same goes for this case, bully, or bull. The word is bull, and our suffix is ly. So since our suffix is ly, let's look at the word bull. Well, bull ends with two L's. So since our suffix is ly and the word bull ends with two L's, we would have to go ahead and drop one of those L's. And when we add our suffix, the word becomes bully with two L's instead of three. B-U-L-L-Y. So now we're going to talk about forming plurals. So there's a couple of rules to this. So one of the rules is most nouns ending in CH, S, SH, X, and Z. In this case, whenever you have nouns ending with those letters, then you would just add an ES. So let's go ahead and look at our first example. Our word is patch. So if you look at the word patch, you can see that this word ends in a CH. And up here it says, when you have a noun that ends in CH, which we have in patch, S, SH, X, or Z, all we have to do is add an ES. So patch ends with a CH. So since that's the case, all we have to do is add an ES to the word patch, and the word becomes patches, P-A-T-C-H-E-S. Okay, then let's go ahead and look at our second example. Our noun is fox. Okay, so let's look up here. Fox ends with an X. And one of the things that it says is whenever you have a noun ending with an X, then you would add an ES. So since the noun fox ends with an X, then we would just add an ES to that word, and the word becomes foxes. Foxes. Okay, another rule is whenever you have a noun ending in a consonant plus a Y, then you would change that Y to an I and add an ES. Okay, so let's look down at our last example. The word is fly. Okay, so in this case, our word ends with a consonant plus a Y, because L is a consonant and then we have a Y after that. So since that is the case in this noun, what we are going to do is we're going to have to change this Y to an I and add our ES. So the word becomes flies. Flies. Okay, so we have some more rules. So whenever you have a noun that ends with a vowel plus Y, or if you have a noun ending with a vowel plus O, then you would just add an S. So let's go ahead and let's look at some of our examples. So our first example is the word toy. If you look at the word toy, you can see that it ends with a vowel plus a Y. So since that's the case, all we would have to do is add an S to the word toy. So then the word becomes toys. So then let's look at our second example. The word is patio. If you look at this word, it ends with a vowel plus O. So since that's the case, all we're going to have to do is add an S and the word becomes patios. Okay, then it says nouns that end in a consonant plus an O, you would also add S. So let's look at the word solo. Solo ends with a consonant because L is a consonant plus an O. So since that's the case here, we would just add an S to that noun as well. So the word becomes solos. S-O-L-O-S. There are some common exceptions to the rule, and those common exceptions include the words cargo, hero, and tomato. And those are just some exceptions that you're going to have to remember. To forming plurals. So remember, forming plurals is just, plurals means more than one. So when you think of plurals, just remember more than one. Whenever you have a noun ending in a vowel plus F, or if you have a noun ending in a vowel plus LF, you would change the F to a V and add an ES. So let's go down, and I wrote some examples right here for you. So let's look at our first example. The word is loaf. So when we're making loaf plural, well, loaf ends with an F. It ends with a vowel followed by an F. So since that's the case, in order to make it plural, we would have to change the F to a V, and we would add ES to make it plural. So the word would become loaves, L-O-A-V-E-S. Now let's look at our second example. The word is half. So when we try to make the word half to a plural word, then all we would have to do, well, let's look at the word. Our noun is half, and it ends with an LF. So since the noun ends with an LF, it actually ends with a vowel plus LF, what we would do is we would change that F to a V when making the word plural. So then our word would become halves, H-A-L-V-E-S. Because remember, our word ended with a noun, because A is a noun, plus L and F. So we had to change that F to a V and add an ES to make our word half plural. It became halves, H-A-L-V-E-S. Also, another rule, a noun ending in F-E, when we have a noun ending in F-E, then we would change the F to a V and add S. Okay, so our word wife, the noun is wife, so it ends with an F-E. So since that's the case in this noun, we would have to change the F to a V and we would have to add S. So when we are making our noun wife plural, the word would become wives, W-I-V-E-S, because our noun wife ended with an F-E, so since that happened, we had to change that F to a V and add an S. So our plural word is now wives, W-I-V-E-S. So the same thing goes for the word knife. Our word is knife, that's our noun. So if you look at this noun, knife, it also ends with an F-E. So it says whenever you have a noun that ends with an F-E, you would change that F to a V, and then you would just add an S to the word to make it plural. So our plural word would be knives, K-N-I-V-E-S. Because remember, knife ended with an F-E, so we just changed that F to a V, and we added an S to make it plural. So it's knives, K-N-I-V-E-S. Okay, then it says nouns ending in a double F, you would just add an S. So let's look at the word sniffs. Let's look at our example. The word is sniffs. So this sniff, this is our noun. It ends in a double F. So since that's the case, all we have to do for the word sniff to make it plural is add an S. So our plural word becomes sniffs, S-N-I-F-F-S. We do have some nouns, however, for some nouns that end with a vowel plus an F, we would just add an S. So let's look at the word roof. Here's our example, roof. This noun ends with a vowel, because O is a vowel, right? Plus an F. So roof ends with a vowel plus an F. So in this case, all we have to do is just add an S to that word to make it plural. So then our plural noun becomes roofs, R-O-O-F-S. There are some irregular plurals, and those are man to men, mouse becomes mice, goose becomes geese, foot becomes feet, woman becomes woman, child becomes children, and tooth becomes teeth. And those are just some irregular plurals that you're going to have to remember. Those are on your lesson 92. That is on page 299, so you have that to look at as well. Last thing that we're going to go over before we go over the exercises together is how to form compound words. So this is pretty simple. Whenever you form a compound word, all you're going to do is keep the complete spelling of the original word in the compound. So all you're doing is just combining the two words together. So your examples. First example is snow and storm. So all you're doing is combining these two words together to make it a compound word. So your word would be snowstorm. So all you did was combine those two words and you just made it one word. It's as simple as that. If you look at the word broad, you have broad and you have cast. So you would just combine those two words to make it a compound word. So that's all you're doing. You're just combining the word. You're not changing the spelling of the words. You're keeping the original spelling and you're just combining them. So then you have gear and shift. So again, in order to make this a compound word, you are not changing the spelling at all. You're just combining the two words together. And you're just making them one. So then your word for this example becomes gear shift. It's one compound word. So I want to go ahead and go over some of exercise 1 with you guys. I'm going to go over the first 5 with y'all, and then I'm going to let y'all finish the rest on your own. So the instructions for exercise 1, go ahead and look at page 300 on lesson 92. So it's on the back. The instructions for exercise 1 say, use the rules from this lesson to write the plural form of each word. So all we're doing is just, we're just remembering our rules, and we're going to apply them to this exercise, and we're going to make these nouns plural. Okay, so the first word we're going to look at is the word wolf. So If you look at the word wolf, you can see that it's a word that ends with a vowel plus an LF. So since that's the case, since the word ends with the vowel followed by an LF, then we would change this F to a V. And then we would add an ES to make the word plural. So it would be, the plural word for wolf would be wolves, W-O-L-V-E-S, wolves. So again, we made it plural by, the word ended with a vowel followed by an LF, so we had to change that F to a V and then add an ES to make it plural. So the plural word for wolf is wolves, W-O-L-V-E-S. So moving on to number 2, our word is piano. If you look at the word piano, piano ends with a consonant plus the letter O. So in this case, since it ends with a consonant plus the letter O, all we would have to do to make this word plural is add an S. So our plural word for piano is pianos. So P-I-A-N-O-S. Because again, piano ended with a consonant plus an O. So in this case, all we have to do is add an S to that word to make it plural. Okay, so moving on to number 3. The word is glass. So this word, it's pretty easy. Since glass ends with an S, in order to make it plural, all we would have to do is add an ES because it ended with an S. So our plural word for glass would be glasses, G-L-A-S-S-E-S. Because again, glass ended with an S, so all we had to do was just add on an ES to make it plural. Because in one of our rules, it had said that when we have a noun that ends in S, like glass, or SH, CH, X, or Z, all we would have to do is add an ES to make those words plural. Okay, so the same thing goes for number 4. If you look at number 4, the word is tax. So tax ends with an X. So like I was saying, words that end with a S, an SH, a CH, or an X, like tax, or a Z, you would just add an ES to make it plural. So since tax ends with an X, to make this word plural, we would just add an ES, and the word would become taxes. Moving on to number 5, our word is igloo. So igloo is a word that ends with a vowel, because remember, O is a vowel. If you have a word that ends with a vowel plus an O, like the word igloos, then all you would have to do is just add an S to the word to make it plural. So the plural form of igloo is igloos, so it would be I-G-L-O-O-S. That's I-G-L-O-O-S. So again, igloo ended with a vowel plus an O, so all we did was add an S to that word to make it plural, and the word becomes igloos. If you don't remember the rules on the top of your head, that is okay. You can go back and look at your lesson 92 and just look at all of the rules on that page. So you don't have to memorize it. You can go back and look at those rules to help you, because you're not going to remember it off of the top of your head right now. You're just learning it, so it is okay to go back and look at those rules.